My name is Jeff Gates. I have been running the Uncle Funky's skate shop here since about 2005, early 2006. I had been doing things in the longboarding space and, events for the community and longboard clinics and this type of stuff since the early 2000s. And more people started asking for recommendations, what boards to get, where to go to get them. I guess there was a bit of frustration because, you'd send people to various, surf or sports related stores that didn't have any expertise, and they'd come back and get boards that really weren't a good fit for what they wanted to do or their body size or whatever. So in '05, I contacted a few of the manufacturers that I knew and started representing them and doing the shop out of basically any apartment where I was living in the West Village. I had a few different manufacturers with a selection of boards and people could come try them out, and we started out just drop shipping. So if you decided you liked a board, we would have the manufacturer send it directly to wherever you lived. And then we got more and more people visiting and traveling in, and they needed to pick up a board. So we started pre-ordering and holding boards for people. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, we kind of got a little bit more structured, where we actually started keeping business hours and being kind of open to the public for walk-in business. So then last winter, the beginning of 2011, we went out and raised some additional capital and got into this space in June of 2011. And this has kind of been the first official retail location outside of the live work. Uncle Funky's definitely has a huge focus on the community. We always have. We work with a local charity called Stoked Mentoring, and we also work with a local charity called Too Long. So we have always kind of been about promoting the community and giving back to the community. That's a big thing, especially with any new sport. If you're one of the earliest people, doing it, there's a sense of trying to build community because you just want to, you want to have more people around doing what you're doing. There's some safety in numbers, especially when you're skating in the streets here. Even way before we had the shop, we were doing things, providing, I had an online resource where you could map out longboard runs called Longboard Maps, and that was a free resource from the late 90s. And this was like, before Facebook and, before MySpace and whatever. So we were back there using like, mailing lists and Yahoo groups were some of like the earliest technologies, just to try and, meet up before there was a meetup. We publish Fresh Paved. It was a blog for years, and then last year we started doing like a zine, and that's kind of focused on skateboarding, longboarding, the culture, lifestyle around that, music and art and that type of stuff. We've got some vintage boards here, and a lot of the older guys kind of come in and like you can see the apparent nostalgia there, and then the young kids come in and can't believe that anybody ever skated on metal or clay wheels. So there's two ends of the spectrum there, but we've been doing a lot of retro 70s style boards. I'm on a 76 reissue J. Adams. We got the pennies in the shop, and a lot of these old school minis are reissues of 70s and 80s style boards. And the fact of the matter is they never were unfun. They were always fun boards. They just, I think got overshadowed for 20 or 30 years by those other kind of street or trick boards. But those boards were always around and they were always great, and now people are kind of standing on them and riding them around again, and they're, I think, having a resurgence for two reasons. One, because you've got that retro thing going on where people like retro products and retro design, but the other thing that never went away was they are a pleasure to ride. They're great for cruising around, so I think that combination is definitely fueling it. Just because you've seen these guys skating and it looks extremely difficult and technical, and these guys are jumping off of the staircases or whatever, that's only one small bit of skateboarding. There is a whole nother element that is just simple and easy and accessible and fun. For me, longboarding or skateboarding is always a rush. I mean, I skate to and from work, and I really get a charge from just skating. There's a feeling that you get when you're doing 10 or 15 miles an hour when your body's in motion. The combination of that with a board that does all these great things where you can actually, you know, lean into it and carve and have that great feeling. That has felt the same when I was 6 years old as when I'm 41. It has never gone away. It just feels great. There's something about the feeling of skateboarding that is, it's been constant and it's been good and it's always been there, so I always go back to it.